Welcome back, fellow armchair generals, to the Napoleonic Age. This is, of course, Gamer1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Napoleon Total War. Okay, I called it the Napoleonic Age. This is how I define some of the ages in history. And there's different ways you can do it. I'm not going to go very far back, but the 18th century starts in 1689. That's when the 18th century starts. You may go, oh, but it's supposed to start in 1700. No, it starts in 1689. The Napoleonic Age starts in 1789. The Napoleonic Age ends in 1815. Now, giving you my reasons. And the reasons are maybe British-centric, but I think are greater importance, if you will. In 1789, James II of England flees England. It's debatable on how smart that fleeing of England was, because William had invaded, and the army sent out to oppose William basically deserted to William. So James, seeing what happened to his father, Charles I, who had his head cut off, flees to France. And for the rest of the 18th century, basically the big question, and you got to really sort of move fairly far east in Europe to find out a bigger, sort of more central question to what's going on in history, is the fate of the British throne. We know the Williamites and later Hanoverians end up maintaining control of the British throne, but that is very far from certain. So it's all, what happens to James? What, is James going to get back on his throne? First James II, then James III, and then finally goes to Charles III. Will they get back on their throne? Now, the 18th century ends in 1789. Why? Maybe more of you are familiar with that date. That's the French Revolution. And that ends the 18th century. No one is concerned about who's going to become the next English king in European politics. No longer consuming. To the point that when Napoleon in, 1792, 94, I don't know, is rampaging down the Italian peninsula, the British send a ship off Italy and pick up Henry IX, King of England. You may have not heard of Henry IX, King of England. That's he was also known as the Cardinal Fraschetti, as well as the Duke of York, so often called Cardinal York. Mixing the two titles, that's Henry, Bonnie Prince Charlie's younger brother. So it's basically traitorous to acknowledge that he's the potential likely King of England, but the English royal government is so concerned about his particular safety because he is no longer really seen as a threat to the British throne, and well, maybe he is to a point later on, but we can talk about that, a bit of a threat. Would Napoleon have put him on the English throne? But Napoleon wasn't real. I mean, even though he was rampaging down Italy, he wasn't a thing yet. It was still revolutionary France, and they did not want to see their legitimate king beheaded. Even the Hanoverians, it would look bad on them, so they send I think it was a British naval frigate that was already in the Mediterranean, and not necessarily orders from London, but it was local, whoever. Yes, get him out of Italy, away from that, the godless French Revolution. So that changes. And the Napoleonic age, I look at it because sometimes the revolutionary period and then the Napoleonic period, once Napoleon comes back from Egypt and takes over France. But I look at I consider it all the Napoleonic era because Napoleon is involved in the street fighting in Paris fairly early, leading a artillery battery, and he's obviously there at the last battle on Waterloo until he surrenders to the Billy Ruffin. So he's involved from the beginning and the end of the age, even though not necessarily at the highest political levels. And he's also at the Siege of Toulon, which is presumably there. He's the main driver that drives the British out, and the Royalists, it was the Royalists captured the port, asked the British fleet in. He's the one that drives them out, so he's involved, major mover and shaker throughout the period. So I consider that the Napoleonic period. So that puts the start of the 19th century in 1815. Napoleon's gone. Napoleon they'd already started in 1815, or before even the 100 Days starts, with the Concert of Vienna. No, that isn't a musical thing. It is a concert of nations that Metternich is running at Vienna, of how to divvy up post-Napoleonic Europe, how to organize that up. And the Concert of Europe lasts until the end of the 19th century. And the 19th century, if you didn't know, ends in 1914. And you probably understand why I consider that ending in 1914, the beginning of World War I, the beginning of the 20th century. Centuries, obviously, if you want to, do it purely by the calendar, we all know that, what the date is. But there isn't a major change, what is it, 1901, I think it is, that Victoria dies, and it sort of goes into the Edwardian age. But there's no real cultural differences, not much changing. Everything is sort of the ancient regimes, in at least that versions of them. In Europe, and sure, yeah, you've had, another French Revolution, Napoleon III come about, back to monarchies, back to republics, So, there is some turmoil, but it's still sort of the Concert of Europe. And it is the breakdown of the Concert of Europe, the sort of balance of powers. And yes, you've had the Franco-Prussian War, the Prussian-Danish War, the Austro-Prussian Wars. You've had wars go on, but they're not huge. That's basically those three wars are the founding wars of the German Empire. You do have battles and wars goes on, but they're not tearing apart Europe. They're sort of, to some degree, like the older 18th century wars, in that they're sort of confined to the battlefield. And yeah, one of the battlefields is the city of Paris. But, so you're going on with that. Culture changes all the time in different areas, but basically one sort of cultural settings, the rise of the middle class, and all of that going on in the 19th century. That comes to an end with World War I in 1914, and that's the beginning of the 20th century. From 1914, the assassination of the Archduke Ferdinand of Austria, and what are the consequences of that? That goes really until the end of the 20th century, and I don't know whether you want to put, the Cold War, just how that you can figure in. Obviously, I've lived through that, but so those are how you want to divide that up. You can only do this to some degree looking backwards, but when does it end? 1989, when the '89 seems to be a powerful year here, if you happen to be noticing that, with the fall of the Berlin Wall. So, yeah, that's how I see the periods of history. Okay, let's smash into this, even though we have a merchant ship with us. Get to some actual gameplay. Oh, good. Yeah, we're gonna...
The oceans are ours.
Okay. So we lost none, they lost 2. Good. Ridding the sea of the French. And of course, the British determined at this this time period that the French do not have the right to be at sea unless the English say it's okay. They're the people that get to say whether French can ever go to sea again.
Ready? Immediately.
Oh no.
Forwards for crown and country.
I wanted these guys. Come here.
Under sail. Still shipshape.
Okay, yes, we want to repair. We want to repair. Even though we have minor damages, we still want to repair. Okay. Now, here.
Fleet ready.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go back into port.
Yes.
I want to heal up all these, even though they're out there still. I am willing to be very Nelsonian and attack and shut down the opposition, sort of at whatever the cost. But I want to try to make all of these guys in really good shape when we do so. Now this fleet here, sort of a light pirating, cruising. Let's head down this way.
Received and understood.
Start blockading them.
Ship's orders.
Okay, there we go.
The battle.
Okay, so it's either neutrals or us controlling all the Atlantic trade. And, well, these guys, we'll see what happens with them, but... And... that looks good. Okay, no, we're not going against the war, or going to war against the Ottomans, guys. Not right now. I don't know right offhand who started that war, though I suspect it was one of the European powers. Historically, the Ottomans would have been stupid at that time. Okay. Nation destroyed, Oldenburg. Okay. And they're rampaging. We're not going to at least generally join into the overall European conflict until We get riflemen. Okay. We are okay.
Your Majesty.
Well, yeah, let's just these guys, right?
Onwards! Forwards! March!
Okay, and we gonna leave the fencibles, but basically all the rest we're gonna get on board ship. Okay. Maybe they can't take all of them. How many can they take? I don't get most. I can pick up a. Oh, we don't want those fencibles. That's for sure. I think cavalry will be two cavalry. Get on board. Okay. So they're all on board here. And they're gonna come down to here.
Cover mountains! Ship's orders received. Ship's orders!
Okay. Guess they made it back into port.
Orders received and understood. Reef sails!
Oh, Navy, that's who I want.
Ready and waiting.
I want to see if there's anybody still out there, because I don't know for sure whether those are the... They made it back. They may have probably did, but...
Any orders? Ship's orders, Captain.
Okay, guys. You now come out here.
Anchor!
Srazi, come...
Aye, sir.
They're gonna bounce into each other? No. Okay.
Awaiting further orders.
There we go. We may send the 32 up to join them. Give them some support. How big is their fleet? Trying to get a side view of that.
Yes, my lord.
And I don't know that we're gonna bother with roads right now. We're gonna build up some more reserves. Ah, here comes the French out to play. Okay, well, 32, 32, 26. We got a 38, 38, 18. We're going to command this one ourselves.
The radar map in the corner of the screen shows the position of your ships and those enemies that are visible. The plus and minus buttons allow you to zoom the map in and out.
There we go. Form a line of battle. Yeah, you can go maybe just a little further back. There we go. Line of battle, led by the... You're most likely to be the first ones in combat by the bigger ships. There we go. Let's start.
Naval battles are frequently a series of individual duels between ships, but there is value in maintaining formation and contact with the Admiral for as long as possible. The morale-boosting effect of being close to the flagship can be passed from ship to ship, as long as they are within hailing distance of each other.
That was echoing for you. I could see that on my mic. Trying to cross their T. They're for some reason moving very fast with the wind behind me. Now, right now it's looking like we're going to break their line. I'm not against the idea of that. Yes, it does mean, and this is why. Turn broadside on them. They're just for some reason zipping along really fast. I don't know why. Things seem to turn into some sort of circle fight. I don't know how they're even moving. How are these guys even moving? They have their sails furled. I got my sails up there, and we're now they have their sails out. Oh, come around this way then. Masking each other so you can't fire. Reduce you, just you reduce sail. we're getting some good hits. Even the 18 gunner is doing okay. How are they just sailing around me? I've got copper-hulled ships. French ships were known for fast hull designs, but still, this is a bit pathetic. Turn, go. No. What the hell are you doing? Villain. This thing is a complete and total circle fight thing.
Fire! The enemy has so battered your vessel that her captain has struck his colors in surrender. He will no doubt claim that he had the welfare of his crew in mind, but this act shames both the captain and your proud nation.
Looks like we've taken out one of theirs. It's sinking. One of their medium frigates. Their 32 is going down. Now he's sailing straight into my guns. No. Come. No, you come here. You turn here. I don't know why he turned in on me like that. I thought he was going to come and try to board me. Go this way. You... Is he running? Man, he's fast. Yeah, both those guys are going down. Well, hard down. Broadside towards them and shoot. Yeah, no. That's doing well. Okay, now fire. Fire, there we go. You swing about. Come about this way. Swing tight. Your broadside to them. One more good broadside. Switch broadsides on. Good. The stern chasers fired off a few shots. Yeah, that was a hard hit. With me? I'm trying to keep that from happening. Ooh, wicked turn of events there. Okay. You get your guns around. Swing yours around. Good, smash that ship up.
Your ship's hull has been damaged, so keep an eye on the damage bar beside the ship's hull icon at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, stop that. Stop that. Making my sound go bad. Who died? Heroic death. Heroic death, General Aslop. I don't know who he was. Supposed to be the captain or something. Close victory. Okay. Wow, that was exciting.
Huzzah! Huzzah!
I guess we only had one ship left after that. Okay. Teach you to come out after me. Sure, we lost 2, but you lost 3. I've got lots more ships, and am willing to build many more. Yes, we have those guys. Now, here, you come back to Jib to get repaired. I'm sure you're pretty shot up. Now we have Nosy here. Nosy. Now you guys come up to here. Let's put the 32, that's types we just defeated, join them. Just to give them a little more protection if the French come out. And get this trade going back, okay.
Fleet ready. Yes, Captain.
Hopefully we'll come out here, you won't see us, but come out and bump into us or something. And we'll take you out. I think I should build a couple of more midshipmen. I think trade is what I need more of. So we'll do that. I think my building program is going okay. What am I currently researching? Okay, we've almost got conscript infantry tactics. Fine. I'm gonna build up some more money to be able to improve a few more things. So, yeah. I'm not, well, I'll stay here while this guy's wounded until he gets back to there. And yes, mentioning that, let's another 38. Okay, targets. Army sabotage. So let's go look. So they were sabotaged, I guess. Okay.
What do you require? Awaiting further orders.
Alright, good. Yeah.
No one will know.
Fleet ready. Heave away, boys. Heave away. Still shipshape.
Yes, repair.
Fleet ready. Ship's orders received.
Now that they're in port, Nelson did not like doing this. Not just because he hated sitting off of the shore from the enemy and sailing back and forth, but he wanted them to come out and then he wanted to destroy them. Sort of where you get the Nelson touch from, so
Aye, aye, Captain.
we're not going to sit there and wherever.
Ship's orders.
Try to
Douse the decks.
blockade them. We'll destroy their ports and things. Yes. Okay, expert purser. Nelson got. Okay, good. Oh, the French are back out. Well, I think they're going to find that we have some
Troops, forward.
fleet.
Any further
some-
orders?
You can block my transports. They can even blockade my port, but they can't come in it because we've got ships there. 64. Okay, yes.
Fleet ready.
Come to
Set
here.
sail. Jump to it and look lively. Ship shape and Bristol fashion, Captain. Awaiting further orders. Aye, sir.
A 64 would make this a much more powerful fleet.
Ship's orders.
There we go.
Ship's orders received. Destination ahoy.
Looks good. Steam powered factory recruitment, 1,000 more to the well. Yeah, we'll do this first. Okay. they've combined, it looks like. And they're coming up to blockade my port. Which will hurt my trade. My income, see? We're now bankrupt. Should have kept the bigger cushion.
Ship shape and Bristol fashion, Captain. Prize money awaits.
Okay, well,
Prize money awaits.
fortunately we're going to put up another turn with that, which isn't good.
Aye, aye, Captain. Down the decks.
Very Toulon. Is it there being messed with?
Orders, Captain. Aye, aye, Captain.
I think this fleet basically blocks them from coming through the port, which is good. Or through Gibraltar. Keeps any Spanish fleet like
Any orders?
those that are likely there from getting out and messing with my merchantmen. Okay, let's quickly look at trade. All of that going into Russia, Sweden, Prussia, Denmark is cut off. We're still getting a bit. Hopefully with this port coming, they could shift the trade up to Scotland or something maybe. And I think we're going to end the episode there. I want to thank you so much for watching. I want to thank you for liking the videos. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Love to see you around more often as we talk about history. And, of course, please post questions, comments, suggestions, ideas. Love hearing from you. See you next time for more historical gaming.